What's up, gearholics out there? It's me, Zach, here doing another gear review, and I'm going to be doing a gear review today on my Nalgene. I have a narrow mouth Nalgene that I'll be doing my review over. This is mine that I've had for quite some time, going on 3 years now, and it has been my primary water carrying source since I first got it. And it's funny, is a couple of years ago I never really considered water bottles or things to be that important until I really started reading more about the actual Nalgene itself. And my whole deciding factor on originally switching over to a Nalgene was all of the interesting debates that happened over the BPA and whether or not things should be BPA free or not BPA free, and the whole battle back and forth. I'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit, but I'll give you guys my personal view of the actual Nalgene itself and how awesome I really feel like it is, or how it's functioned for me. I've covered mine in a wide variety of stickers, and that sounds really crazy. But it's like seems like to be the cool thing to do, I guess. And really, it's like I get a sticker, and sometimes it just didn't know what to do with the sticker, and so I slapped it on my Nalgene, and that just became a thing, I guess, for me. Or and I saw other people had stickers and stuff like all over their stuff, and I feel like in a way, it sounds really crazy, but I feel like in a way, stickers help, almost in a way, like protect your Nalgene from just being banged up and things, because you don't have to worry so much about the stickers being rubbed off, and it's kind of like a cool personal thing, especially since you can kind of personalize it, and then in a way you can recognize your own Nalgene when you go out, because so many of these Nalgenes all look the same, or they're the same colors, and so many people have the same stuff on their Nalgenes, and I feel as if personalizing your Nalgene is really important. So it's kind of a fun, cool thing to have. A second thing about these is, one, you're saving the environment when you actually carry these, and I'll kind of get into really all of these different subjects. But let me first give you kind of a little bit of breakdown on these. This is a 32 ounce Nalgene, or 1,000 milliliters. It does carry exactly 1 liter of water, or 32 ounces. I have actually found that you can fill it, if you fill this all the way to the top, it actually carries 38 ounces. So that's from the measurement line, the 32 ounce actually terminates here. So you actually get an extra 6 ounces in this actual water bottle if you wanted to. Of course, it's like, who's really counting the ounces of water that they really drink? It is just important to carry as much water with you when you're out on daily hikes or anything. So I like to maximize how much water I can take, and that actually, knowing that I have those 6 extra ounces is just kind of a good thing, I guess, to know. But every ounce counts when you're outside and you're walking around. I generally take this. This is my everyday thing. I don't just carry this when I'm going outdoors. I carry it every single day with me. It does slip into my backpack side really easy, and it doesn't really take up much room. It's not that heavy, and water is one of those things that you should drink all the time, especially if you're an active person. You should just drink water all the time. It doesn't really matter, if you're one of those kind of people that drinks soda all the time, just to let you know, you may be shortening your life. I mean, maybe not, but in my opinion, you're shortening your life if you're constantly drinking sodas and not taking care of your body, and being healthy and active. I feel like if you're going to be active and you want to go outside, you should just do that, and not really think about, you should think about your health, and you should think about being outside just because it's important, and it gives you longevity in your life, and in the long run, it also gives you great memories to share with other people and share with your kids if you don't have any, or one day plan on having some, or it's just a good overall experience. And it's good for you. So be active, drink a lot of water. That's really what I'm kind of getting at. So the full ounce weight of the actual Nalgene when it is completely empty is actually 6.2 ounces, empty weight. That's not that bad. There are people out there that just absolutely, they just go back and forth about Nalgenes and whether or not I should carry this or not. If I got to save ounces here and there, platypus bottles, Pepsi bottles, carrying whatever bottles you want, to save weight and ounces. And it's just like, ugh, it just starts really getting on my nerves. I just find this method, the reason, if I'm not going to get into that argument either with you guys on YouTube, if you're one of those kind of purists where you're like, oh, I'm such an extreme person, I need to count every ounce that, I don't care. I really don't care about that. My personal opinion, the reason why I carry these is one, because of their durability. I know that I can drop this from a distance and it's not going to break. Honestly, I'm not going to go out there and test it and break a perfectly good Nalgene. I just know that it would be a little bit safer to carry things in this rather than a glass container, rather than a Pepsi bottle, because you don't know what kind of toxins are leaching into your actual water supply when you're using other products that are designed to be temporary or disposable. And a lot of guys out there that carry these Pepsi bottles or that carry plastic bottles, and those are fine, but those are designed to be temporary and not long lasting. Or at least in my opinion, they're not designed to be a long lasting, sustainable water carrying source. They're really great in a survival role where you have nothing else, or if you need to carry more water, you want to make this your primary water, carrying source. That's great. But I'm not going to get into that political argument about whether or not you should carry it or not. I just say that this works for me, and it's what I've carried. And I have several of these. It's not the only one. I kind of interchange these because these do get gross from time to time. And I'll actually kind of talk to you guys about how I clean mine, or just like my methods. So the full ounce weight is 6.2 ounces empty, and then it is a full 2 pounds, when completely filled all the way to the top with water, or roughly 2 pounds. So that's not a big deal. And a lot of, that goes back to that argument, like, oh, you're going to save weight by carrying something that's not six ounces. It's like, I'm not worried about 6 ounces when I got 2 pounds of water hanging off my back. 6 ounces isn't going to make a big deal to me when I'm carrying that much weight. You're not going to notice it. You're really not going to notice it. I dare anybody to really go out there with 2 pounds worth of water and in two different forms, and really tell me, can you really feel a difference? It's not going to matter. Your body is not going to be able to tell, and only your mind will be able to tell. So that being said, I kind of got out of the way. Sorry, I'm a little heated about that because I read a lot of reviews on Nalgene's and people, and I'm not saying like Nalgene is the perfect go-to bottle. I'm not like a purist, and I'm certainly not, what do they call it? Brand myopic, I guess. And I just find that these work really, really well for me, and that's fine. So, I just say this is a better water source than most of the others, a water carrying system. I do actually have several water bladder bags that, go on your back, and I find that those work extremely well as well. If I'm trying to carry more water and I'm going for longer distances and longer hikes, and I know that my potential water source in between my stops is farther and farther away or spaced out, and I know that there's water not available readily, yeah, you want to take as much water as you can with you. But this is just my found source of water. So you have your 2 pound full water bottle, and these cost a shocking $9.95 or $10 total. Let me just tell you, those $10 that you're going to be spending on this thing and how much you're going to be using it, totally worth it. Totally worth it. I would pay more, even if they were more. If they were $20, I would pay $20 to have this. It really doesn't matter. And honestly, the fact that these are so cheap, if you break one, oh no, I dropped it and it broke because it's not as stable as other things. It's like, okay, so I go and I replace it, But obviously, if I drop it and I break it and it's my primary source of water, you're up Mr. Creek without any water bottle. But of course, I'm not going to be dropping my water bottle from that because I'm going to make sure that it's tightly secured onto my bag. This is just a clip. I use this as like my clip-in point. I usually use a carabiner on this, and I don't have a carabiner on there right now. I stole it for something else. But the basic foundation still stand for me. that you should have a secondary tie-in point for this, or have like a slip or sleeve that you can hold it. And I have my own rigging that I'll show you guys in a little bit for another Nalgene bottle that I have that I made that didn't cost me hardly anything. And so, anyways, the extreme survival rate of these is actually kind of nice. Although it may not be able to take like a 10-foot fall fully loaded or 6-foot fall fully loaded with water and not survive, it can survive negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 40 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. So it can survive extreme temperatures back and forth without breaking or melting, and that's pretty crazy. I mean, and that's left out in the open if you had to leave it in the sun or whatever. I don't even, you're not going to melt this. You're not going to break it with freezing cold. I have left my Nalgene bottle out in near teen weather, and it totally frozen over. And I just put it in my bag or put it inside my coat to kind of warm up the water and break it loose, and it's worked fine for me. It's happened a couple of times. I don't try to do that, but it just happened a couple of times. Generally, when I go out and I take my water bottle, if it's going to be particularly cold and I know it's going to freeze, I do the military thing where you take your water bottle or you take your water source and you stick it inside your sleeping bag with you, and it will not melt. It will not freeze. It'll stay a nice, consistent liquid. And it's right there if you need to get a drink in the middle of the night. Of course, you don't want to drink too much because then you're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. So another thing this does, saves the environment. It saves the environment. How many times can I say that? We need to start saving the environment. Do you know how many times I've been outside and I've seen trash just littered on the trails? Cigarette butts, candy wrappers, bottles galore, trash bags, plastic Walmart sacks. I hate that. I hate seeing that. And you know what's funny? I'm that guy that has to go out there and pick it up because I can't just keep walking. I can't just keep walking and know that there's a piece of trash on my trail. So thank you, whoever's doing that. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a wonderful life. I hope that you understand that every time you throw out your cigarette butts or drop something on the ground, that I'm the guy that has to come in and pick it up behind you. Just because that really annoys me, and I'm sorry I'm getting so heated over this. It's just one of those things that it's like, I don't know why people leave their trash behind, but this eliminates a lot of trash. It eliminates a lot of trash, and it eliminates a lot of trash, not just on the trails, but in your life. I used to drink out of water bottles all the time. I would recycle the water bottles, I would never, but I never really considered Nalgene's to be a super big option until I read the whole thing about the BPA, and I'm going to get onto that. So I used to drink out of water bottles all the time, and then I realized that as much as I was going and recycling every week or taking my bottles to go be recycled, I didn't really realize that I could just buy a permanent source, and have just an everyday thing for me to drink water out of. And so I got smart, and I decided I'm going to go get a water filter, and I'm going to put it on my tap, and I'm just going to filter my water through my tap system. And I use the Brita water filter or whatever on my tap, and it works fine for me. It's great that the water tastes fine. It has a filter on it, so it filters the water out, makes it taste better. And I'm a person who drinks so much water that it's just like constantly drinking water. And so this is really easy to fill up in my sink. The nice little cap just fits right inside my sink, real easy, and I can just throw it in there and fill it up all the way, and then throw it in my bag, and I don't have to worry about it. And I can just fill this thing up anywhere I go, really. And it's totally waterproof, obviously, and it's water resistant. It's wear resistant. I can drop it from a decent height, and it's not going to break. I can throw it in my bag, and it's not going to, if something hits it or knocks against it, it's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to leak. And if it does, I can always replace it. And I've actually seen I've seen videos online of people who drop their Nalgene, and there's a little crack. It's like a hairline crack that comes in, and they start leaking water. You can literally go in with duct tape and put that over it, and it'll stop the crack. for a temporary fix until you can replace it. I've seen things like that. So it's very, very, very easy to haul around water with this. Another thing is that everyday carry item. You can just carry this every single day, and drink out of it every single day. You don't have to worry about buying a water bottle. Paying for those large packs of water bottles and things, and you're just adding more trash that we have to eventually either A, recycle, or B, put into our big trash recycling piles. It ends up going to the wasteland of trash, and it's just like, we need to eliminate as much as we can within our daily lives, so that way there's less garbage out there that we have to eventually become responsible for, and eventually one day it's going to come back and it's going to bite us in the ass, and I know it will, because that's what happens. We ignore the problem until it's already too late, and then next thing we know, we gotta deal with that, and who knows the outcome of that. Who knows what's going to happen. That's going to be interesting, and our children and the generations that follow our generations are going to have to deal with that problem and that issue. But it all starts right here. You can start right here. So one of those things, I guess. So a great thing about this is it's BPA free, and I know I keep saying, what is BPA? It stands for bisphenol A, or I think I'm pronouncing that right, or for short terms, it's just BPA. And basically, in 2008, the Health Canada came out with a toxicity report for BPA, considering a toxin for humans and the environment. And what that means is it basically is very dangerous for us to ingest. And I'm not sure if it's toxic. I'm not sure on what level it's toxic, and I have not read the report, so I have no idea. I'm just clearly stating what I've seen in my research and what I've read. The toxins apparently are just really, really, really bad for you, and I think they're extremely bad for newborn infants. And BPA was found in a lot of water bottles and baby bottles at the time. And so since then, a lot of companies have gone BPA free, and then that includes Nalgene. Nalgene heard the report, and they responded to their customer demand that things become BPA free. So they simply responded to the BPA call, and they started making things BPA free. I've not found any conclusive evidence that Nalgene is anti-BPA. I just know that they produce a lot of anti-BPA products, and so I cannot speak for Nalgene on their stance for BPA. But I know that they produce a lot of items that are BPA free, and the best way to see that is on the very bottom. It actually says, let's see, where does it say? It says right here. There's a nice little triangle. It says BPA free. BPA free, and it says Nalgene. Whoa, made in the USA. Can't argue with that. Product proven. Another great. So, anyways, after they did the research and and Health Canada released their toxicity report, basically the U.S. FDA said, well, we're going to do our own research, and we're going to look at your research. And at the time, the FDA has concluded that BPA was actually safe for people and was not as toxic as apparently first thought of. But the battle for that research and on whether or not it's toxic for you or not is still going on. So it's not one of those things that, oh, it is or it isn't. It's still really in debate. This is just a brand new topic, really, in the environmental world that has come up, and it's not good. So in all honesty, if anything is toxic for you at any level, it's gonna either kill you or not. But too much of anything can kill you, really. But it's good to just kind of, even if it isn't that toxic for you, it's just good to know that it's not in your product. So that way, it's like you don't really have to worry about it. And it's kind of, it would be better to just think about it as, ignorance is bliss in this kind of situation. Ignorance is literally bliss. And so with my research and all that things, I just feel safer not having anything BPA. And that's my honest opinion. I'm not saying that BPA is toxic or not toxic for you. I just feel as if products that are produced BPA are also reliable. And the fact that it's BPA doesn't change anything. If it weren't BPA and I didn't know about it, I wouldn't really care either, because I'm still going to use it for my everyday thing. But that's just a little bit of information that I didn't know until I did the research on it. And I'm just letting you guys know. And even if I'm not completely 100% accurate in my research, you can go out there and you can do the research yourself, and you can make your own decision. But getting back to the actual Nalgene itself, it's really reliable. It does have graduated measurements here, and that's really kind of nice. And I think they're increments. I think in the ounces, they're increments of 4. So that's kind of nice. And obviously it goes all the way up the side. And I tried, when I was covering up my whole bottle with stickers, I tried not to cover up the actual ounces, so that way I could actually know how much I'm spending in ounces and or milliliters. And it's good to know that, because if you have to measure out things for let's say if you're boiling water and you need 2 cups or X amount of ounces to boil for like a packaged meal, it's always good to know how much water you're actually spending, and it's also good to know how much water you're consuming in an entire day. You can kind of base that off of how much you're drinking per hour, and I think that's also another indicator. Is like, well, how much, it's kind of like your fuel gauge, on your car. It's like, how much do I have left until I deplete the entire thing and I need to refill. Usually when I'm outdoors, this is my philosophy too with my gas tank. When I'm driving my gas tank, if my gas tank starts going down and it hits right around the quarter mark, or right underneath the halfway mark, I know that I need to fill up my car. Same with my water bottle. So if I hit that mark, I usually go ahead and I buy gas. And what that does is it gives me a buffer zone to start searching for water. And then on top of that, it also kind of lets me know that this is the danger zone. This is like, it's like, okay, well, I don't have that much water left, and how much farther do I have to hike? How much farther do I have to go? Am I risking? Am I willing to risk how much is left? To make it to my next water source? Am I sure that water source is there? These are questions you need to ask yourself when you're right around this mark, or at least in my opinion, I feel like you should ask yourself that opinion. And I know this is going to be a really long video, and I apologize. I'm just kind of talking philosophies here, and kind of giving you guys like my insight. But really, I mean, this is something you should guys really think about, or at least in my opinion, you should think about. But it's also just great to know that these measurements are here. I have other Nalgenes actually. I recently got a huge Nalgene. This is the 48 ounce. Yeah, the 48 ounce Nalgene, and I believe that there's an extra 6 ounces as well in here. I could be wrong on my measurements, but that's kind of nice to have this larger version, and you can kind of see the two side by side. They're actually relatively large, and that extra, this is a 1.5 liter Nalgene, and it's just like that extra liter is actually really nice, especially when you live in places like I do, where it's really hot during the summers and relatively cold during the winters. It's like you're drinking a lot of water all the time, and just having that extra buffer zone is really nice, which means that I can actually drink an entire liter of water and still have half a liter to kind of rely on as my buffer zone to find more water. So I'm actually maximizing how much water I'm actually taking with me by adding that extra half liter. So I've been using this a lot more lately on my hikes and outdoor adventures, and I find it to be a lot more suitable for what I need. And I really do like this Nalgene bottle, this 48 ounce. It's really kind of cool. And there's a little Nalgene logo. I thought that was really neat. And then I kind of made a little makeshift carry system for my Nalgene, and what it is it's actually just a Velcro strap. I went to Home Depot and I found these straps, and it's literally just a Velcro strap, okay? And it's literally just a Velcro strap, and I took it and I just slipped it onto my Nalgene. I tied a little piece of paracord onto the actual plastic bit itself, and attached a carabiner to that with some 550 cord. uh, and you literally slip it on any of my Nalgene's now, and I literally just tighten it down. You know, I just kind of tug on it and tighten it down, and it straps on right there. You know, it's not the best method for carrying it. I'm sure there are better methods out there, and they do sell other options. I'm just a poor person, and I have to do with what I got and what I think of. And this worked. This was a gamble when I went to the Home Depot store, and this works for me really well. You know, and it hasn't come off, and I've actually clipped this like on my side and just had it hanging from the carabiner and all that, and it has not slid up or done anything. And so this is just one of those modifications that I did and that I found that works for me. So Nalgene, Nalgene, it's one of the greatest things you'll ever own, and it's one of those things you'll use every single day, and you won't have to worry about it. And really, you can really do a whole lot with what you're having. You know, all with the idea that you're saving the environment, you're protecting yourself and your body, and you're really just you're following a different philosophy, and it's time to start looking at things in a different philosophy. But that's all I got to say for now. Um, you know, uh, you guys have fun out there. Be safe. Be smart. Don't ruin the environment, and try not to cut yourselves. This is Gearholic, and I'm signing out.